while I was editing, I ended up messing up and I had to redo some things. So I am going to show y'all the process and how I am going to make this properly this time. Today we're going to be making a video on how to do A, the portal effect, and B, how we're going to do the sky change effect. I'm going to end up using both of these effects in this TikTok I'm creating, so I might as well show you how to do both effects in this one YouTube video. Again, might be a little bit longer, kind of like the last one was, but hopefully it gives you a general idea of how I do these effects.
And it goes like this. We get in your car and you leave to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat.
For starters, obviously you're going to want to go into Rocket League itself and record all of your cinematics. For this one specifically, we're going to need the actual POV itself. We're going to need the green screen of the POV, and then this one was just a goal cinematic. So instead of using the 3D camera tracker like most creators do, I'm going to end up using a insane Bacchus mod plugin called Cinematic Buddy. It was actually shown to me by my good friend Moon. He's also a fellow content creator over on TikTok. If you don't already, go ahead and follow him. He's a fucking great guy. If you don't already, go ahead and download the plugin for Cinematic Buddy. Link will be down in the description as well. And I'll show you a little bit of how it works, just setting up the keybinds and stuff. But past that, if you want to know how to record cinematics or anything to that nature, just check the video I posted before this, and it goes a lot more in depth on how to record actual cinematics in the game. Once you have all of your cinematics, start by importing your POV shot and your green screen shot, because these are going to be the first two that we're going to use. We're going to add both of these, and we're going to have to sync them up, same way we did last time. As you can see here, the clips are synced up. Doesn't matter where we go in the video, all of the clips are synced. I'm actually going to end up renaming these just because I'll end up having a lot of different layers, so just to keep things simple, I'm just going to call this green screen. Here's where we're going to import our script from the Cinematic Buddy for the POV shot that I recorded. To do that, you just go up here to File, Scripts. To see where your Cinematic Buddy script is, you just type in Run, type in %appdata%, hit OK. From here, we're going to go into Bacchus mod, data, cinematics buddy, plugins, After Effects, because we're in After Effects, and we're going to use this cinematics buddy AE. So that's how you can find where it is. But to do that, you just go scripts, run script file, and you navigate to that same place. But for me, it's the last one I used, so I'll just go to recent scripts, and then once you run it once, it'll be right here, so you won't have to go searching for it every single time. So we're going to click that, and we'll pull up this, navigate to the folder in which you put it in Bacchus mod to export to, click OK, and from here it will split all the keyframes. While it's doing this, there's going to be a shit ton of keyframes because this script ends up doing keyframes for the floor of the map, for all the walls, the goals, all the players, creates null objects that follow all the players in a 3D world. The Rocket League camera creates a camera inside of After Effects that follows where the Rocket League camera goes. So it pretty much creates its own 3D world inside of After Effects. Crazy. I don't know how they made it. Shout out to Cinderblock over at Bacchus mod for ending up and creating this plugin. Incredibly useful. Great to know that we have this at our disposal. Like mine, for example, pops up as not responding. After Effects more than likely didn't crash. You just got to give it a second to import the thousands of the 5,507 keyframes that it created. So after imports, this is what it will look like. I am actually going to hide a bunch of these layers. This little button right here is called a shy layer. I'm going to click from the car all the way down to floor just so they become shy layers. And then if you click this button right here, it hides them all. So that just helps keep a little bit of a neater timeline. And now we'll have to line up all of these with the actual clip itself. The best way to do this is to go to a section that shows the goal right here. And we just want to line up this text with the goal. And to do that, I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. You're going to click the camera layer, and you're going to drag it back and forth until it lines up perfectly with the goal. So now that that's lined up, I'm going to go to the end. Since the start goes a little bit further past, we're going to go to the end right here, make sure that we're snapped onto the camera layer, and then we're going to unhide all of our shy layers. We're going to click the ball null object, hold shift, and click floor, and it will select them all. And then we can click and drag to snap onto that. From here, they should all be synced up. once we do that, we can hide the shy layers. As you can see, this text of blue goal stays on the blue goal the entirety of the cinematic, so that's how we know it's synced up properly. From here, we are going to create our portal because the effect I'm going for, I want the portal to start there. I want to go through the portal right here, and then I want to be in the blacked out outer space with nebulas and everything everywhere. And then once we get to the double tap, I want to have an asteroid right here on the back of the goal. Once the ball bounces off the asteroid there, we will fade it from the atmosphere back into the map. We'll have me dunking it, and then we'll bump transition into the goal explosion. To create the portal, you create a new composition. You can call it whatever you want. From here, you're going to create a new solid. Me personally, I'm just going to make this black. I don't think it really matters. Go to Effect, Video Copilot, Saber. If you do not have the Saber plugin, I'll have that link down below. 100% free, don't need to pay anything for it. We'll go into our render settings, change the composite settings to transparent. Now we'll come up here to our shape layer, and this is where you can change what you want your portal to look like. Do you want it to be a rectangle, a rounded rectangle, an ellipse, a circle, a polygon, a star? Doesn't matter. You make any shape you want as long as you make a mask. Me personally, I'm going to choose to do a star, so I'm going to draw out a star. If you notice it's going all wonky and you want it to be straight, press and hold shift and it will make it straight. Right about there is good. So then I will get my mouse tool and put it about like that. Just try to line it up with the center. Go up to the customize core type and change this core type from Saber to layer mask. Personally, I'm going to use a preset under here. I'm going to use Nebula. I'm going to turn this down to roughly 22. Turn that down to roughly, what, 0.24? There you go. And I'm gonna go for like a purplish pink. Okay, so after you have this, we are actually going to right click, make a new solid. We're gonna make sure this is white. Has to be white, incredibly important because we're gonna be using Luma mats. And then you're gonna click this little arrow right here, copy the mask, Control C, select your white solid, paste the mask, Control V. And for now, we're just gonna hide that. And from here, you will copy your black solid, so Control C, and you'll go back to your main comp, press Control V to paste it, and we'll click this little button right here to make it a 3D. And then to find where we put the portal in the map, what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll through until we find where I want it. So I want to be jumping through the portal right about here. So I will unhide the shy layers. I'll find out which car is me just by clicking around. So this is me. I will press P on my keyboard to show the position. So this is my 3D position of my car in this frame. I'll go back up to the black solid, press P again to show the position, and I will copy these and paste them into the Saber layer. After you do that, you can see the portal shows up. Crazy. I'm going to end up hiding the shy layer. And as you can see, it is the incorrect orientation. So we're going to rotate the x-axis. No, it's the y-axis. And just play around with this until you get something you like. I'm actually going to drag mine up a little bit, drag mine back a little bit. Okay, cool. Also, I don't actually like how the portal just stays open. So I'm going to go back into my comp 1, the comp where we made the Saber layer. We go down to Effects, Saber, and then we're going to go into our Customized Core right here. I'm going to end up keyframing my mask evolution, my start size, start offset, end size, and end offset. A little bit further out. Drag that, and then just for clarity, I'll drag the mask evolution back to 0, and then once we sync up with these other keyframes, I will set that to 1, and then I will go back to the beginning, start size 0, end size 0, please, and end offset 0. I'm going to play that through and see how it looks. It takes forever to get there, so I will zoom in a bit, drag these keyframes over. I'll go right about here, increase the start size about 40. I'll go right about here, change the end size a little bit more. I'll drag these a little bit closer as well. Okay, I like that. These keyframes you can really mess around with and see how exactly you want your portal to come in, but I like that animation quite well. Copy this again, paste that, make sure that's 3D. We'll look at the rotation, and then we'll go look at the position, and copy, paste. And from there we can delete the first one we made and drag that one to sync up. So now when we play it through, you'll see that little animation. Yeah, that little starting animation. This time we'll put the green screen over the POV, and we'll put the black solid over that. And then the green screen, search the effect key, and we're gonna find this key light 1.2 here. And we're going to drag that key light onto the green screen. Click this little eyedropper under screen color, and just click anywhere to get rid of it. And then I like to bring down the balance a little bit to about 21. The green screen goes over the solid there. That way, yeah, there you go. That way the portal is behind both the ball and the car. Now we go back into the comp and choose this white solid. I'm gonna copy that, and we're gonna paste it in here, right over the black solid. We will open the position of our black solid, open the position of our white solid, make that a 3D layer as well. And we're going to copy and paste all of the positions as well. Make sure you match the scale and the rotation if you did alter those as well. And when you're done, you should have something that looks like this, where your white layer is directly in the middle of your star layer. This is where we're going to get a little bit fancy. So I'm going to go ahead and save just in case I mess anything up. We're going to create a new composition, and this is what we're going to call this space final front. We're going to add in this picture right here of the Milky Way. It is very important to start out with your composition setting up here. This pre-comp, you don't want to be 1920 by 1080. You want this to be as big as the image. It's very important that you have an extremely high quality photo, like 8K or higher. To find out how big it is, you just right click it, go to properties, and then details, and it will tell you how big it is. So I'm gonna have this right here on my left hand monitor. Go to composition settings, and we're going to change this to 8192 by 4096. After we have our galaxy, obviously it's just an image. This is the fun part where you can get kind of creative. We will go to Google Images, and we'll just find some cool things that we want to be inside of our nebula. So we'll add a planet, maybe. I'll add this planet, and now we'll add some nebulas. Like there, that one looks. And then just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna add a black hole in here as well. Like the way that one looks. So after we have all of those, you can open the folder where you saved them all, and we'll add one by one. We'll add our first planet. Once you have your planet, you can go up here onto your ellipse tool, double click it, so that way you get this nice circular mask around it. I'm going to go into my mask, and I'm going to up the feather a little bit, just so you get that little effect on the outside of it. And I will drop the mask expansion by a little bit, just so it blends into the scene. And then from here, if you toggle switches and modes, you can change the type. You can mess around with different ones like screen. This one I'll just keep normal, but just putting it out there, you can mess around and make it different. I'm actually gonna drag this one over here. I will rotate it just a little bit. Again, just double click that, create a mask, go into the mask drop down, bring up the feather as much as you want, and mess around with the expansion. So after we have all of these, I do like to go through and add the glow effect, the regular glow, just to show y'all. And we will up threshold, and we will also add like curves to be above glow. Click. Without it, it just kind of helps it match the scene. So I am going to copy these effects and paste them to everything. Once you're happy with how it looks, you can save, obviously, and we'll go back to our original comp, and we will drag in Space, the Final Frontier. We will drag it right below that white solid that we created, and we will toggle switches and modes if you don't see it. Yours might look like this. Just toggle switches and modes, and we will mat it to the white solid too. And then you want to make sure these two little things, you want to make sure Luma Mat is selected, and you do not want to invert mat. So just make sure it stays on Luma Mat. And then we will actually take both of these and drag it below the black solid. So that way your saber layer is above it, so you can see the portal effect over it. So then you'll see us flying up into space, and we will go to right past it, right here. And we will choose this. We'll split it, Control-Shift-D, and on the split one, we'll take the mat off. Now, we will add the Horizon effect. Horizon is a paid plugin. Choose the image map of Space Final Frontier, and we can rotate this around any way we want. This is going to be a little bit different and kind of complicated, but I want to try it. Never done this before. So I have actually downloaded a asset. So I actually found this 3D model online. You're gonna make sure that it's an OBJ variant. I will drag in my object layer, drag it right below the camera, and it will say whatever. We're gonna add element from Video Copilot to it, and we're gonna hit scene setup. From here, we will import, find where the asteroid is saved, open it, click OK. And I'm gonna scale mine up a decent bit. I'm gonna add a new material, and from here, we will use a texture. I'm going to be using this texture from polyhaven.com, free textures. We're just going to download it, and you should have these files. So from here, we will click on our default new texture that we just created. We'll go to diffuse, load texture. Going to go into our rock blend, textures, and I'll choose this dark one just because I like it more. It'll say it'll be downscaled, don't worry about that. I'm just going to upscale the UV repeat. That way it looks a little bit more high res. And we're gonna do this for textures, glossiness, and no bump. So after we do that, we can choose this and drag and drop it onto our asteroid. That's okay. And now we have an asteroid. Drag it up to where it's supposed to for. So yeah, now we have our asteroid. So from here, we can click OK, and we have our asteroid. To be able to see it, we're going to choose Space Final Frontier. I'm going to turn that off for now. We're going to find where it hits. It's roughly around there, and I will go back to my asteroid. Go to Group 1, Particle Replicator. I'll put this at negative 13.018.148, negative 2063, and our Z is negative 827.16. Put this below the green screen as well, right here. I'm going to choose our asteroid, put it right a little bit. And then we're actually going to go back into our scene setup. I'm going to scale this up just a little bit more. So now, when you turn on Space Final Frontier, you have it flying through and banking off the asteroid. Pretty cool, right? So we'll do that. So right about there, choose Space Final Frontier, press T to keyframe the opacity, and we'll go to right about there, set that to 0. We'll do the same for the asteroid. And of course, you have to ease every keyframe in After Effects, and we will go a little slower, so then it fades out like that. And we'll go to there, and we'll choose that one, actually do that one through the floor, go up to edit, split layer, and then we will delete all the backs of those. Hide those layers again. We'll choose our green screen, our asteroid, black solid, white solid, space, and the clip, edit, split layer, and delete the backs off of those. And then we have to line up these X, Y, and Z's with this X, Y, and Z. We actually have to add horizon to this as well. And then we'll come here, copy 69, paste that. So now we have that slow fade into outer space. Just recapping, have us driving up to the portal. Portal spawning in, hitting the ball up, flying through the portal into outer space. Hitting the ball. Ball hits the asteroid, fades back to us. Bam, goal. And that's where we'll put the goal cinematic in the next comp. Before we export this, when we're in the space, when we're in outer space, right here, I want to add it to look like the stars aren't just far away, but we're like flying through the stars. So to do that, we'll be using the particular effect. It's actually also part of Red Giant's trap code. And to do that, we will right click, create a new solid. I'll make this one black, and we'll add particular to it. We'll open the emitter window. We will find the positioning of the ball here by pressing P. We will copy that, come down to our solid, paste the positioning. We can hide our shy layers. After you add the particular effect, if you're not seeing it show up, but if you go into 2 view, like your default view and your active camera from the Bacchus mod plugin, Cinematic Buddy, and you can see it in your default, but you can't see it in your active. If you had it hidden, unhide your side layers. Find a part of the video where your ball is in the frame. Press P on your keyboard and click Control-C to copy and paste in your X, your Y, and your Z axis. And from there, you should see it around the ball. After you do that, we will change our particles per second to 800, change our emitter type to box, change our XYZ to individual, and from here, we can make them more or less spread out. And then we can scroll down, and in our particle masters tab, we'll change from sphere to glow sphere, no depth of field, and we'll change our opacity random to 100%. And the rest of everything will left the same. I'm going to have it as we go through the portal. I want it to start right here. So I will take this, drag it to right there. So I actually change the position to further back. Hold shift to do this. So that way, when we're here, have the stars. That just adds that little subtle effect. Change the size to 10, just so that way you can see the stars as you're going through. So now we can turn on Space the Final Frontier again. I'm going to have this start at the beginning. So now you have us going through stars as we're going through the scene. Now we will select our, what we name this, particular. Control D to duplicate it. We'll come back down into our particle master tab. And here we will choose cloudlet, set the size to 100, and we'll turn the opacity down to 1. So that way you still have your stars, but piggybacking off of the stars, you have that little cloud effect. We're gonna save it. And from here, I like to export and then time remap in another project just because this is super, super big and very resource intensive. So now I'm pretty much done, but I'm just going to walk you through what I did because I ended up actually getting so into it I kind of forgot to record. So essentially we have our rendered video that we rendered from the 3D effects project earlier, and all we did with that is we just time remapped it. If you want to learn more about how to time remap, I'm not going to go as in depth in this video. Look at the video I posted right before this, which showed how to record cinematics, how to do the map change effect, as well as time remapping, green screens, and etc. So we pretty much just imported that clip and synced it up to the song here with the beats. That's where all the markers are. I showed that in the last video more in depth. I synced up the clips of, or the parts of the clip going through the portal, touching the ball, and flipping upside down. And then the goal explosion ramps up, and I did the scale out same way I did it in the last TikTok with the double null object. And then with the adjustment layer, the only two effects I added were exposure and shake. Same way we did it last time. However, for this one, instead of 10 frames for the shake, I went 20 frames. And for exposure, I ended up going 10 frames instead of 5 frames. But I still kept it at 2. Other than that, I took the full comp, which is in 1920 by 1080, and I pre-composed it. And then I just changed this composition to 1080 by 1920 and scaled it up. And then when I export this, I'll throw it into Topaz. Great video editing program. If you don't have it, look into it. And from there, I'll upscale it to 4K, and then I'll post it on TikTok. So anyways, guys, this is a crazy new effect I learned how to do. One more time, just really got to shout out my bro Moon. Thank you so much for introducing me to this whole field. I've had so much fun just fucking around with this effect. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the description. I'll try to answer as best I can. But yeah, other than that, feel free to sub, like, check me out on Twitch, and be sure to follow Moon on TikTok. He's insane at what he does, bro. Like, it's crazy. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy Duck, signing off. Peace.